Hey guys, Drew Henderson here with the GCC. Tonight we're going to have a Throwback Thursday with Dr. Sid from 1994. But that's about to come up, but I'm going to remind you of a few dates first. We're going to have GCC in Atlanta, in person, continuing ed hours, July 25th through the 26th. And then September the 19th, we're going to be all going to the United Atlanta game, to the soccer game. So get with Kat, get online, get those tickets, sign up. It's going to be a heck of a time. The other time we went last year, it was amazing fun. September 12th through the 13th, we're going to be doing continuing ed in Warner Robins. So that's going to be an in-person continuing ed. Get your 20 hours in 2 days. It's easy. You're done. And then October 8th, it's going to be the Cairo Cup, our third annual golf tournament. So come to that. Sign up. We have already people from 5 or 6 states are going to be coming. So last year was freaking amazing fun. I didn't play last year. I had a team. I didn't play. I'm playing this year though. So if you want to see somebody crush it, don't come see me. No, we're going to have fun though. We're going to have tons of raffle prizes. We're going to have a golf pro there. It's going to be awesome. But tonight is Dr. Sid, 1994. This is part 1. There's going to be 3 parts to this thing. This is part 1. It's about an hour long. It will blow your mind. He's in his prime time. It's the way most of us remember him when we were in school. So tune in, and here it is.
Good afternoon. An equal and opposite reaction. I was hypnotized. Now, I'm going to tell you before I start, I don't use notes. Rodney Brown, I'm happy to see you here. Bill Willis. I don't use notes, as I was going to say. I got at the top here, this is my prep sheets. How you doing? My prep sheets. And I'm going to do off the prep tonight. Hopefully. I'm always making plans and to do it off of the note, but I never learned how to do it. And tonight I am not becoming hypnotized. I want you to know that. I just encountered I just got released of this speech I did in New York. Really did too many hours. It was 12 hours. No notes. 4-hour sessions. If you don't think you got to put yourself under for a 4-hour session with no notes, full blast, it's difficult. We're going to Nashville. Now, I hope some of you are planning on going to Nashville. Okay? You don't want to miss Nashville because we are going to be there. And it was 4 years ago that we were in the big city. And these New York friends of ours thought they had the greatest and the biggest and the largest hotels in the entire world. Until they got to Nashville. The Grand Ole Opry Hotel was at least 1.5 miles long, 12 stories high. Nothing in New York has to do with that. Crowds at Times Square, except on special occasions, were minuscule compared to the Nashville crowd. 5,000 people going to the Grand Ole Opry performance, 5,000 ending. My New York delegation was just impossible to believe that it could be that spectacular. Well, anyhow, you've all heard of Minnie Pearl. Minnie was there. Minnie's sick this week, I understand. Roy Acuff was there. Porter Wagner was there. All of these great country performing stars were already enshrined in bronze. This is what the New York crowd, they couldn't believe it. They went to the Country Music Hall of Fame, expect to see people in the past. They got to the Grand Ole Opry, there was all these people enshrined, were still on the stage. Now, the fabulous thing about it, now get in with me on this thing, get in with this story. And I'm going to tell a lot of stories, maybe. I get as much dead response as this thing, I'm probably crawling under that table and hide. But you got to brighten up a little bit. Don't expect me to just pour it in. I want it to come back out. Well, I know where you are. I don't have but an hour and a half. Not 3 hours. I never start a DE meeting unless it's 3 3.5, 3 3/4 hours right off the bat, just like that, to bring the audience centered, to get all the poison, the negativity, the mundane trivia out of their consciousness. Now, see, this is a student-laced crowd here. I don't want to take you away from the books. I want to immerse you into the consciousness that you must study, you must learn, you must become dedicated, but you also must become a chiropractor in mind, body, and spirit. That's the difficult part. How do you manage the academia? How do you manage the academic influence? How do you manage the state boards? How do you manage the national board? When it comes down to a feeling, a supreme feeling of confidence, and one being able to talk with authority on chiropractic is what's going to make you successful. No one here can realize their full potential until they get immersed in it and quit resisting it. Just get into chiropractic and then let chiropractic move through you and let it talk through you. You quit talking so much. Like I told you, I wasn't going to become hypnotized, but to do a 3 or 4 or 10 or 12-hour performance with no notes, just a little prep. It's like a practitioner who goes into chiropractic. He should not have to think. His innate subconscious mind should think through him, like a great test taker. Some of you are great test takers. You can go in and read the material, pour it into your subconscious. I wonder this, and I want to point this out to you. I know that there are 78 life chiropractic college graduates in the state of Georgia who have defaulted on their student loan. I know that there's 2 or 3 people in this group here who have defaulted on their student loan. But the majority don't think they got a problem because the practice is not doing right. If the practice was doing great, they wouldn't have to default on the HEAL loan. Now, Life College happens to have one of the largest default rates of anybody. Yet they have available right on the institution, right as our parent group, the alumni of the Alumni Association happens to be the DE people. They're the most successful people in the entire chiropractic world, probably in the history of chiropractic, with a knowledge base of how to work with their innate subconscious mind to where it manifests. The innate subconscious mind, where it manifests ideas, thoughts, arranges contacts, resources, people, personnel, for the benefit of the person who knows how to arrange this subconscious mind and how to make it operate, how to make it work. And many people are resisting it. This is pure BJ. Now, I want to be bold enough to say we're going a step beyond BJ, of teaching people how to become innately aware and innately attuned to where the process will work through individuals. Frankly, that's what built Life College. How do you arrange all of this this gigantic thing up here, bigger than any college that has ever been in chiropractic? And they arrange the ideas, thoughts, the resources, as an example. How do you get a state university that's adjacent to us here in Marietta to sell us 8.5 acres of land? State universities don't sell land. They don't give land away. They take land. The state acquires the land. You know what Southern Tech has already agreed to do? Sell Life College 8.5 acres adjacent to us, under the power line where you're now parking. The reason it was so easy to get an extra 200 parking spaces because we already had the deal cut. We just put a little rock and gravel on it. The state system is going to sell Life College 8.5 acres. A phenomenon. No one ever would think of it if it hadn't been our mindset, our growth process, our growth procedure, our dedication, willingness to sacrifice, work, coordination, painstaking preparation, native endowment means your talent. If that hadn't been applied, Southern Tech would not even look at us. But they're selling Life College the land. Now, probably you know a little bit about this running track. You'll certainly learn more about it here in the next week or so. We're going to make a 5.5-mile running track between the two parks, Wildwood and Alberta's Park, connecting our property. The city don't make agreements with us to do parks. The city don't agree with us to give us 8.5 acres of ground in order to make a professional metered track for professional athletes to be trained. It doesn't make arrangements for us to open up these city parks. It doesn't give us the opportunity to open out on 280, have a big sign up there. It just don't happen. It's happened at Life College. Now, put your hands together. That'd be good. Now, I think I'm going to start, as I said, I'm going to come off the sheet here. I never do this. Coming off the sheet where I won't miss anything because it's not going to be a 3 or 4 hour talk. We've got to go shopping tonight a little bit later on. Let's come on. You got to get the spirit of the Atlanta chop. Get your hands cocked up here. We're going to do it about 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 3. Okay, put your hands together. Get the spirit of it. Now, I'm going to tell you just a little bit of a story here. There's an old Indian story that I start out some of the DE meetings with. This old Indian was in Oklahoma. Here he comes riding from the reservation, and he had just inherited a huge hunk of money. If you owned a lot of land in Oklahoma when the oil boom comes, you might be a billionaire the next day. You might have been it for the next 25 generations. This Indian hit it rich. Not with his brain. He just happened to own 100 acres of reservation land. Let me tell you how he came in town. Riding on top of a stretch limousine Cadillac. Not in it, but on top of it. Being pulled by 4 horses. And he rode through town and he bowed and he scraped and he bowed and he scraped. And everybody kept wondering what the old Indian was doing sitting on top of the Cadillac. Now the answer was, the key was in the ignition switch. Key was in the ignition switch. 420 horsepower under the hood. And the Indian never learned how to release the power from the inside by turning on the ignition switch. He was using 4 horses, and there was 420 under the hood. Now, a lot of you think you're going to have to change roads here. And you might have to get on this success road for chiropractic. One time there's a fellow down here in Yazoo, Mississippi. Now, you probably never heard of Yazoo, Mississippi, but it's an actual town. You people from the South know about Yazoo. The guy pulls up one of these old rednecks down there in Mississippi and said, "Where does this road lead?" And the old redneck said, "It'll lead anywhere in the world. You don't have to get off of it. It all depends on what direction you're going." Now, you know, if we had a penny, a little brass copper, a half-mile down in the Atlantic Ocean, side by side with a bag full of gold that the Spanish had got a galleon sunk, you know that the penny and the gold, unless you bring it up and bring it out, is worth the same, unless you put it to use. Now, hopefully, in this brief encounter that I'm going to have here with you tonight, you don't need any more office procedure. You won't need any more office procedure than you graduates at Life College. You'll be so inundated, so filled with office procedure routines, management schemes, computer sciences, everything known to man, and you people in the field, you can just read the advertisements on seminars and get an education yourself. You don't need any more things. You got everything that you need. We're going to teach you how to briefly, just briefly, turn on this switch and reach inside of you and find out for a change what is a peak performance. Peak performance. Now, there's not a person among these 78 people that were forced to discontinue the payments on the heel loan. If those people knew what we're going to explain to them tonight and how to turn that switch on, how to become dedicated, how to become disciplined, how to perform a peak performance like a great Falcon football player, or a great Atlanta Brave that's playing tonight, or a great Life College rugby player who knows and understands what it is to perform at the peak of his full potential. These 78 people could regroup, rekindle their enthusiasm, or never go into default, where it would embarrass them, embarrass the college, embarrass chiropractic, embarrass the profession. If they understood, if they were humble enough to forgive all their commissions and omissions of the past, forgive all their people that they think are holding them back. You know, a lot of us sit around all of our life, we say we need a helping hand. You know what the best helping hand you can possibly have? It's the hand that's dangling out the end of this coat right here. Now, the quicker you get to that as a young person, especially as a chiropractor, this is the helping hand you need to know. The greatest phenomena, perhaps the greatest discovery that we've ever known of in the history of healing, the history of life, perhaps the greatest. Certainly more significant than the discovery of the pulse. Can you imagine a more significant discovery than the pulse? Everybody checks pulses. The discovery of the vital force flowing in the nervous system is our concept. We discovered that. The scientists have not yet discovered it. And it lies dormant, waiting. And yet we've got people that know how to work with this power, work with this source, work with this energy, work with this intelligence, work with this wisdom, which is the essence of chiropractic. Yet we got failures. Had the good opportunity before I went to New York. I took 60 plus predominantly DE men and women, and I'd say split 50-50 on life graduates. Took them to the Meadowlands. It's a damn nice stadium, but we lost, so it made it kind of sour and puny. You know how you do take loss again today. My feathers hadn't flopped, but they're almost about to flop. Anybody can lose to that raunchy South Carolina over there in such a manner. Mistakes, 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 mistakes. Now, if your practice is not growing, when I finish the program here, if your practice won't grow with this, you know what the answer is? You're making mistakes. Look at it that way. You've got it. You just got to learn how to eliminate the mistakes. You've got to learn how to do a peak performance. You've got to learn how to talk with authority, not recitate the books learning, but talk with the authority of a professional who knows chiropractic. And when you talk with authority, it's like E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton talks, speaks, people listen. When you are one with authority on the essence of chiropractic, people will listen to you. People's inner sanctum is opened up wide when you start talking with authority. Now, it's difficult to relate with your colleagues. Don Harger will tell you that. It's difficult if you're positive and dynamic and strong and powerful and sure about everything to relate with another colleague who also thinks that he is. Give me your hand. Just sit there with your hands crossed. You see, when you are one with authority, then everybody has an idea. Their heads clash, their egos clash, their minds clash. Great. We're not in the business of selling chiropractors. We're in the business of motivating and stimulating and encouraging and loving and giving and serving to people, not chiropractors. Got it? So if you clash, don't let it back you off. Keep dynamic, positive, authoritative. Don't you imagine sitting in the audience, some great performer? Don't you just feel as if they're speaking to you? Can't you just almost just rush up to have an encounter or an embrace with whomever it might be? Maybe you hadn't thought about it. That's the kind of a performance you as a professionally trained person must aspire to a peak performance that can radiate, exude confidence, love, sincerity, dedication, authority. These trillions of dollars worth of research in drug modus operandi is designed not to reinforce you. That's the reason that the doctors, the medical doctors, the allopaths, all of them don't talk about the philosophy of chiropractic. We think our philosophy of chiropractic is unique. It comes out of your anatomy book, your neurology book, your physiology book, your syndesmology book, your immunology book. It's pure science coming out. The reason the other side doesn't talk about natural healing, because natural healing involves herbs, autosuggestion. I never will forget L.B. Sims, and I had a toenail one time down there. I was at B.J.'s house, and he and I was hell-bent I wasn't going to have my toe fixed. The L.B. told me, he says, let's got any kerosene? I said, no, I don't have no kerosene down here in Sarasota. We have electricity down here. He said, let's go get some kerosene, and we'll put a poultice on your toe. I said, all right, let's do it. He says, natural, good healing. Remember, I got a bunion. I can't walk. The thing just swelled up as big as a turnip. So we marinate my toe for 2 days in kerosene. Now, I'm the president of the Life College up here. I can't go tell this out into to the world out here, but LB and I marinate my toe. About the 4th day, there's a huge streak up to my knee. There's 3 or 4 of them, not just one. The kind of marination I did, I thought that toe was going to cook like you'd boiled a turnip. And I had to go over there and get the toenail taken out. Let me tell you something. In the right place at the right time, great blessing. Never had another pain. I walked in on crutches. Thought I'd be in pain for the rest of my life. Thought I'd probably die with an abscess or something. When I got that toenail cut out, I thought he was anesthetized my whole being. I never had another pain when I took that ingrowing toenail out. So, you know, if you are afraid of a little bit of surgery to remove a bunion or a toenail or whatever you might need, it's a great benefit. We're not knocking it. When I got my toe out from marination, out of surgery, you know, I took it over there and I said, here, fix this damn. What you been putting on? It smells like kerosene. I said, oh. I said, damned if I know what it is. I said, Dr. Sims out there marinated it in something for the last 2 or 3 days. What'd you put on it, LB? He said, I don't know. I had it in my suitcase. Something I gargled with. And LB was one of the finest chiropractors in this entire world. Let me tell you, natural healing without chiropractic concepts, without the concepts that have made us real, made us a threat. Can you imagine a flimsy little group of practitioners whose father was a fish peddler, a person that was unlettered, not even attended junior high school, probably not even graduated from grade school, to discover the most significant health procedure of all time. Far more significant than all of this other extraneous information about the palliation, the treatment, the surgical removal, although good, although beneficial, although scientific. Add that. Add what we know, what we teach at Life College, what ICA stands for, what the majority of chiropractors in the United States, in the world, stand for. Add the vivification, the revivification of every cell, tissue, organ in the entire being, causing it to function normally. Can you imagine a concept that increases the flow of intelligent, vibrant energy, and which vivifies tissues, blood cells, bone tissues, cancerous tissues, that normalizes it and has the potential to open the hospitals? I don't mean go into the hospitals that you hear a lot of chiropractor struts. Say, oh, I take my hospital around like it's great. We should be procedures should indicate how to keep people out of the hospital to where we don't need the hospital and we can bankrupt the hospital, open the jails, open the mental institutions, fill up the churches. Now, some of you was a damn weak on that concept there. Those of you that were weak, you should have been standing up like a bunch of Zulus over there shaking their spears, because that's the concept. Your adjustment procedure is beyond natural healing. It's beyond kerosene. It's beyond nutrition. It's beyond good water. It's beyond exercise. But you add it to it. I'm talking to you all like you're a mature group of chiropractors who come here for me to help you. Not for you students to sit there like pacifists. I mean, I'm not saying you're a pacifist. You got to go back up there and get the books after a while. I passed that. I done quit learning. I mean, I learned a few things, but God, I couldn't memorize one of these books like y'all did. 612 muscles, is it not? How many muscles are there? How many origins and insertions? Even the great Don Hogger has forgotten how many muscles and how many origins and how many insertions. What difference does it make? Except when you're reporting cases in court, you got to know something. Good. Now, we say this. This is part of the prep now. You're already a graduate. You got your license. You've got your national board. This is what you want to understand. First thing I asked you when I said, you hadn't got a single note down here. Get your pencil out. This is not a regular lecture. I hadn't even got to my notes. This is just a prep off of the notes. Number one, you must learn how to talk with authority. Is it on chemistry you're going to learn to talk with authority on? Myology, osteology, physiology, anatomy, pathology? Is that what you're going to talk with authority on? No. You are going to learn to speak with authority to the patient with love. Write that down, with love. With tenderness, with compassion, with kindness, with strength, with authority. These are sick people. The only thing that you have is the authority that you give it. If you don't give it the authority, it don't have any authority because it's not in the text. The AMA says you're quacks, charlatans, and cultists, and haven't forgot that. There's another war brewing. We just conquered the AMA after a 15-year fight. Our chiropractic group conquered the American Medical Association. There's always, if you're an infantryman, there's always, when you conquer Hill 201, you know what you do immediately? Dig in. Because the enemy is going to retake 201. Got that? We conquered these people. We won this group. They haven't quit fighting. They are going to get the chiropractors if they can. Now remember that. And one thing you're going to be certain. You're never going to be without opposition. Fierce opposition to completely eliminate you. You need good enemies. You need strong enemies that keeps your vision. Now, the vision I told you about, the thing that fuels you, is not you're going to go out and work every day and get up to 100 visits, and then 110, then 150, then 200, then 250, then 300, then 400. The vision is the concept of chiropractic. The concept of chiropractic is this. Real simple. The scientists haven't learned it yet. Deny it. To hell with them. That's the one thing you got to know. You are alone. Our concept is shared by none other than us. We're the only ones. We share the concept that a tissue cell in the brain generates the energy. Not like this electric energy. This electric energy won't create a cell. It will produce heat. It'll make light. Don't think of it in a stupid, ignorant thing that's just function. The tissue cell creates the intelligence of life that knows how to live. It makes babies into you. Ladies, we can help with the process, but we can't make them. Can you imagine the intelligence and the wisdom of taking two little cells and then it comes out with trillions and trillions of little loving, tender, individually personalized tissues? And the concept that we share that's beyond the sciences, that has not and probably never will be proven. You've got to get over that hurdle too. You talk about it's got to be scientific. Well, if you want chiropractic to be scientific, be prepared to take cricks, backaches, and strains, and damn few of them. Cricks, backaches, and strains, if you want it scientific. The RAND study in California, the RAND study has already come out. It says 95% of the manipulative procedures in the world are given by chiropractors. 40 million a year. You know what the ironical thing is? 95% of the manipulative procedures, 40 million adjustments a year, and ours is 52% more effective than physical therapy. Great. Massage, colonic irrigations, allopathic medicine, traction, manipulative procedures cause an adjustment by 95% of the people that do it. You know what their recommendation is? Just as an example, the recommendation by the RAND Corporation, chiropractors should have the front row for manipulating low back pain, provided, however, that it's not neuronally involved. Mechanical pain is not neuronally involved. A crick, maybe a mild strain or sprain or a backache or some little shoulder pain or musculature, provided, however, the pain and discomfort is not of neuronal causative factors. Wouldn't that be great for the chiropractors? They're going to dangle a great procedure of this levator type concept of managed health care. You can bet your bottom dollars that Brother Kennedy, you saw him on the television the other day. I think, what's his name? Orrin Hatch, who's a fine chiropractic booster. His son-in-law is a chiropractor. No wonder he's after Kennedy so bad. Did you see Senator Hatch from Utah? His son-in-law is a chiropractor. He's one of our biggest boosters. Well, he crawled on old Brother Kennedy up there pretty good. Kennedy's crowd don't like chiropractic. The managed health care concept is going to try to manage you into cricks, backaches, and strains and give you just a few of those, just enough to palliate you. It's going to be dangling in the carrot before the students and all the ACA people. They won't affect the ICA guy. We got our minds made up anyhow. Okay? Let me tell you, this is a non-political talk. I want y'all to know that. Non-political talk. God, I lost another. Stop that girl there. Thank you. I'm going to wait till she comes back. I'm going to bring it up. The concept is not shared by the scientists, ladies and gentlemen. The concept of the brain cell to tissue cell. If it was scientific, if it was universally accepted, wouldn't all these distinguished scientists approve of chiropractic, the idea that the intelligence is created in an individual tissue cell? That individual tissue cell sends this little vibration of life down to the periphery, down to the independent cell at the end, and then at the end reacts and responds and sends that little vibration back up to the brain for interpretation and action. Isn't that what you learn in physiology? What you learn about what we say in physiology. But if it's a fact, why don't the world's distinguished scientists share that same conviction? Well, the truth of the matter is they never give the credence to the concept. They don't address life. They don't address how life, the brain cells, vivifies the tissue cells. They address the idea that the body heals itself. If they addressed it like we do it, if they had an answer for vivification, if they had an answer for function, if they had an answer for homeostasis. If you're ever abroad or dealing with independent sciences, learn to speak in terms of improved vivification improves homeostasis. You'll draw a huge crowd with healers. They're all trying, searching for, determined to find methodologies to improve homeostasis, except because of bias, prejudice, entrenched ignorance, passion. If it's a chiropractic concept, automatically. Now that concept is scientific, but it's not shared by the scientific community to the degree that they address life, because the ministers deal with life. You know what the big idea you've heard a lot about? The big idea, according to BJ's terminology and to his wisdom and his research, the big idea was that chiropractic was a bigger idea than religion, a bigger idea than law, a bigger idea than medicine. It was the biggest idea, according to BJ, that you can reconnect life and make function, normalize, and improve homeostasis by correcting vertebral subluxation. The explanation of chiropractic philosophy, done in our hands and in the hands of the chiropractor since the beginning of time, has been scientific. Out of the text, physiology, anatomy, neurology, myology, the philosophical concept straight from the textbook. You know the reason the other people don't encounter it? Because when they get to the healing process, their methodology is take this, do this, try this. We encounter the scientific explanations because in all schools, including the national school, God forbid, the LACC school, oh Lord, the Western State School, the Northwestern School, believes and bases their chiropractic work basically, fundamentally, on the adjustment. Their explanation of chiropractic is right out of the text. Make up your own story. The reason we repeat it, because there's one other phenomenon according to BJ. I just checked it tonight. One other thing that's considered in this concept that's different. The brain cell to tissue cell. Intelligence in the brain going down to the peripheral tissue cells, interpreting the needs on the periphery, going back up to the brain for action. One other concept. Put that down. The first concept. You must have this concept. It sounds paganistic. It's not accepted by the scientific community, whether it's good or bad. I want you to watch this phenomenon. Whether you believe it or not, whether you're a layman, whether you're a minister, a priest, or whatever, even the Pope. If I drop this set of keys, if I give an adjustment, what I'm giving you the concept, if I drop the keys according to a natural law, do they go up laterally or do they go down? Just Put that in your mind and mull over it for just a few seconds. Even immaculate. Mull over the concept of a natural phenomenon. If I drop the keys, they fall. Compare it with the concept, if I make the adjustment. This is where you've got to come from. You must, this has got to be written down too, you must eliminate the idea of treating, healing, or curing as a chiropractor. Eliminate that idea from your consciousness, and then your dependence is upon the wisdom and the power within the body. And one significant factor, Don Hauger knows this, one significant factor, your ability to correct the problem. Got that? Brain cell to tissue cell, coming from the wisdom we call innate intelligence. You can call it God if you like. You can call it nature. You can call it anything. It doesn't make a bit of difference. The name is insignificant. It does it anyhow. Regardless of your beliefs or your convictions, or regardless of the prognostications of the sciences and the damnation of the sciences. Been doing it for billions of years. The chiropractors conceived the idea of the brain cell to the tissue cell, all schools in the ICA. Magnify and emphasize that if the continuity is correct from the tissue cell down to the periphery and back, you know what you're dealing with then? I'll tell you how BJ explained it. BJ was over in Kilauea in Hawaii. Kilauea happens to be fronted by at a volcano house. There's a little porch looking out over this mile-wide volcanic eruption. Burbling, spewing, molten rock for a mile. It looks better than any craters on the moon. BJ was fascinating about the power of God, the power of universal intelligence. And he went and looked at the volcano of all this molten rock. And have you ever tried to melt a rock? You've melted some iron, but have you ever seen a bottle of, a wash pot full of molten rock? You can melt iron and steel, but rock, here it is. Something in the bowels of this earth in Hawaii, who's had a continuous making and remaking of islands since the beginning of time. BJ wonders. He goes back over to the counter and he gets a little bottle of Carter's Little Liver Pill. He examines the bottle, opens it up. On the printed matter on the bottle, it says Carter's Little Liver Pills aid nature. So BJ opens one of them up. He goes back over to the overlook at the volcano house. He says, this is a wonder what's going to happen if I drop this little pill in Kilauea, if it aids nature. Now, I think that's the crux of it. Do you have more faith in a spoonful or pill of medicine, a bottle of medicine, or a pill, or powder, or potion, or prescription? Not that sometime in some rare instance that the body would need it, that you'd go beyond the limitations. We're not talking about it in condemning and condemning and saying every drug is bad, every drug is wrong. We're talking about the basic key, the belief structure, the knowledge structure, the base upon which we have formulated this mountainous, this charging, this moving, this dynamic wave that's being validated daily. That's being validated daily by the results that we produce. Do you have more faith? Is your belief capsule of such that you need ultrasound except for money? Diapulse except for money? Irrigation. To detoxify the body. We're going to detoxify the bowels of the earth to clean out this molten rock. Now, BJ compared it to this. I'm not saying anything that BJ hasn't said. I'm just telling you how to relate with it. You either build your conviction on the sand, or you build your conviction on what they say. You build your conviction. You want to be a doctor. You got to find out what kind of doctor you are. You don't use drugs. Not that you don't teach it in your chiropractic colleges, because it's illegal. Very simple. Chiropractors don't use drugs because the allopaths have a closed shop on it. That's the first reason. And if you want to be weak, tie yourself to the shirt tail of an enemy. It's like going on the reservation and thinking you're free. Or it's like an elephant that's chained to a building, who's trained himself all of his life that he's free, but he's chained to the building. You appreciate drugs, you accept drugs, but you look at it realistically. Now, I'm talking about the core of the chiropractor. You can't rise to the height that I'm speaking about. And I'm talking about, and you write this down too, 500 visits a week is what you want to, your first aspiration is. 500 visits per week. That's your first aspiration. Not that you're going to go back home tomorrow, but you're going to aspire. You are going to aspire to have the ability. I don't mean some prejudices and say, I don't want to see 500 visits a week. The concept is you are a chiropractor. You are a ballerina. You are committing your life. The artistry comes first. Is that what you want? The artistry of chiropractic, the structure, the belief structure of a world-class performer, like other professionals, a Larry Bird, this young white man who can't jump 47 inches. He jumps 18 inches. He runs 112 seconds. Applaud. An elephant can outrun Larry Bird. But when it's all over, 20 years from now, all of the great people say Larry Bird will be considered in the top 5. You know what his mother said? His mother said, since he was 8 years old, I'm glad. She's president of the Harvey Lillard Society. I'm telling you, glad she's here. Since Larry Bird was 8 years old, 8, 10, 12 hours per day alone in the gym. What do you do alone in the gym? Make love to the basketball? I love chiropractic. I love chiropractic. I fell in love with it in 1953. I'm still in love with it. I love chiropractic. I love Dr. Nell. I love Life College. I love all beings. My first love is chiropractic, the concept. And I ain't changing my mind. I love chiropractic. You got to come to that. I love chiropractic. I love it. I love chiropractic. And what I say about it, what I do for it is out of love. Not out of to make money, not out of to become popular. Don Hogg will tell you, I've been saying this for 100 years. I done fought the best of them and the worst of them. I'm ready to take them on tomorrow. Indian hand wrestling, sticks, knives, spears, swords, rifles, whatever. Just name it. To preserve our integrity and make it right for the vision to mature. Empty the hospital, tear down the jail, open the mental institution, fill up the churches. Naturally. There's still a lot of you in here mighty damn weak now. I wouldn't have you on my football team. You'd be running the stadium. every day you'd run the stadium 10 times before you practice, and 10 times after practice, and 150-yard wind sprints until you dropped in your tracks. If you're going to stay on this ball club, you're weak. It should electrify you when you hear somebody brag on chiropractic. Who else has been telling you that? Have you heard the medics say that? When anybody says anything that coincides or fortifies your vision, get the spears out. Get a little fanatical. Go brave 3 times. Let's get together. Get your chops back. Let's do it 6, 7 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Brave. I like it myself. Put your hands together. Now, is Dr. Markham's boy here? Is his son here? He's in the first quarter. I made it. Is that you? Your daddy told me last week, and you quoted you. He said, I started 8 stories and never finished the end of them, and told one at the end and brought them all together. That's pretty damn hard to do now. I can start 8 or 10 stories. I've been doing it alone here. So what happened to that story? About 2.5 hours down the road, I'll bring all that back together. Then you'll understand it with one thrust. Put your hands together. That's good. Don't just get this thing out. Remember, I am not speaking that you would talk this type. We're talking about being involved in the moment. We're training. We're not talking philosophy that you would talk at the college level. You wouldn't talk to PhDs like that. You're only in the first day to find out if you really want to be a chiropractor. Because you're talking to one. You can't sit out there and say, well, I don't agree with that. The hell you don't agree with. If you don't agree with this, you're a medical doctor. See that? Damn simple. Simple. If you don't agree with these concepts, you are a therapist, a manipulative, a musculoskeletal doctor. We are chiropractors. We work with the subtle substance of the soul. We make adjustments that revivifies, and you must feel your strength on it every day. Appreciate the opportunity of appearing before you, and I hope you enjoyed it as did I did. Okay? Thank you. Oh, thank you. I love you. I love you.
Guys, wasn't that like old times? You know, I miss him. He's proud of us. You know that? He is so dang proud of us. And if you want to listen to part 2, it's going to be July the 23rd, same time, same place. So tune in then, July 23rd for part 2. You won't be sorry. And just a reminder, GCC Atlanta CE in person, July 25th and the 26th. September 19th is Atlanta United game. Come out with us. We're going to have a freaking boatload of fun. You know, it was amazing last time. September 12th and the 13th, Warner Robins in person, CE credits. 2 days, get them all, you're done. And then October 8th is our 3rd annual Chiro Cup. So come out with that. It's a freaking blast. It's going to be at Bentwater Golf Club. They hook us up, and we have cigars, all kind of stuff. Like A++ service there. Anyway, that was a great message from Dr. Sid. Listen to part 2, July 23rd. Y'all have a good night.